Chief Project Officer, Pak Muhammad Asril. And we also have with us here Chief Sustainability and Corporate Affairs Officer, Pak Bernardus Irmanto. Welcome, Ibu and Bapak, and Senior Management of PT Vale. The conference call today will be started with brief presentation by our directors and then followed by Q&A session. Without further ado, I will now hand the session to Ibu Febriani Edi to begin today's presentation. Please, Ibu Febri.
Thank you, Glory. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Febriani speaking. I'm the CEO of Vale Indonesia, and I'm glad today I'm accompanied by my directors across the board from Jakarta, Makassar, Sorako, and our group project Bahadopi Pomala attending today's call. We're happy to discuss our quarterly performance result with you. I would also use this opportunity to update you some of the key issues and ongoing issues within PTVI, and happy to take on any questions you may have later on. Next slide, please. As usual, as a public listed company, you know that I'm obligated to show you this cautionary note. This presentation and discussions comprise of assumption and forward-looking statement that involve risk and uncertainty. In addition, all opinions, assumptions constitute our judgment and are subject to change without prior notice. Please refer to the attached cautionary note. Okay, this is our one page. As you may be familiar, it is our cultures, our habits, our commitments to always start our meeting with one pager. It is helpful to always remind us to be truthful to our purpose, and purpose connect to our value, behavior, and therefore ambitions. Why are we doing what we're doing today? And this is also serving as a compass for us in leading through the organizations and the company. Before I pass the following sections to my fellow executive directors, let me briefly give you a flavor of this quarter, the highlight. It is our company culture as well and commitment to always start discussion with safety. So let me highlight with you some of the outcome of the achievement today. Pak Abu and others directors, we can go through more details on the statistic and how we achieve where we are today. We continue and strongly believe that our strategy in pursuing leadership in the field to really cement commitment in safety has shown a good trend result. The last 15 years, we have seen our total recordable injury frequency rate has decreased 80%. And since 2018, we're able to sustain the injury level to not exceeding, roughly in the order of 0.5 and 0.6. Despite this, at least we have a confidence that we're moving toward the right directions, and we still have a lot of homeworks and improvement that we can pursue. However, this positive trend, give us confidence on how we can lead through our safety transformation. And I also like to highlight on the ESG side, we're working really, really hard to improve further our ESG credential, and happy later on to share with you that we have some achievement and improvement in our outcomes in terms of ESG rating. Volume-wise, we're very happy also to show you that our first half result volume-wise is higher than the similar first half of the year since last year. That shows that our strategy of maintaining productivity, strategy on our maintenance, and also asset integrity has brought some fruitful outcomes. But Abu can later speak more details on that. On the financial side, as you all familiar and know and follow the story, nickel price continued to go down today. Despite this, as you may have followed, our company always put emphasis on the importance of strong cost discipline. Kiki later, our CFO, can speak more about our initiative in terms of maintaining our cost level. And on the overall, I think despite the decrease in nickel price, we were able to maintain still a very strong EBITDA and healthy margin for our business. And lastly, let me also speak a little bit about our growth project. We have Asril here that can talk a little more detail about growth project, but very glad to share with you on the Bahadopi mining side, we're progressing really well on schedule. And in fact, I think by end of this year, we could achieve significantly outcome that we want. And we predict next year, toward Q3 next year, our mining for Bahadopi should already be able to produce ore, and hence we are in a better position. So I think starting taking up on selling our ore next year. And on the Pomala side, we are also mobilizing, I think, contractors, so we can show more result toward the end of the year. And also, I think Sorako HPAL or Malili HPAL also progressing well. We're now, hopefully, soon our partners can secure the AMDAL, and hence we were able to start the groundwork immediately. So in nutshell, I mean, despite the low nickel price we're experiencing today, I think overall the business is performing quite well. With that, I'll pass on to Pa Abu to talk about more details about the operation, then follow with other directors. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bu Febri. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me to continue the presentation. I will start from the safety performance here. You can see slide. So, in the second quarter, the company managed to maintain the no lost time injury as well no recordable injury caused by an accident. So we can see here our total recordable injury in the second quarter year to date is 0.18, which is much below compared to the previous year. So hoping we can maintain this good performance until the end of this year. So several programs we have conducted, including to involve not only our employees, but also our contractors to involve and promoting safety behavior proactively, including all our employees in 3 sites, not only for AGO, but also in project site. Yeah. So the previous slide, Lydia, still on the safety side. Yeah. So in the photo here, you can see our leaders conducting leadership in the field, which is the presence of leader in the field to do observations and having a dialogue, safety and behavior dialogue directly with the operator, with the employees in the field. In the second quarter, we have major shutdown activity as well. The leaders doing also Gemba at night, which is intensively doing the observation safety dialogue with the intention to ensure that all the activities during the major shutdown run smoothly, preventing any accident. So that is why all those the program is showing the trend, indication of our safe lost time injury as well. Injury frequency rate is decreased to 0.18 in the second quarter. Another point here, at the photos above, is the visit from the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources conducted supervision and guidance, integrated supervision and guidance to our operation to do the review and evaluation of our activity in terms of how we comply the implementation of good mining practices. Yeah. So the result of the supervision, there was no significant findings, and some recommendation and suggestion will be implemented, and it is recorded in our mining book. Yeah. So part of our company's ambitions to become a benchmark in safety. So we continue to involve and participate in the Good Mining Practices Award. It is conducted by the General Directorate of Energy and Mineral Resources. This is conducted annually. So I'm proud to mention here that last year, because this is conducted annually, the company received 3 trophies for being the best in terms of implementing good mining practices. For us, it is not just about the trophies, but it is our way to operate. Next slide, Lydia.
No,
The
Pak
next,
Abu.
yeah, the next slide is our reclamation. Yeah, this is our ASG rating and also the reclamation update. Yeah. In the second semester, we can see here year to date, our GSG intensity decreased to 26.6 CO2 equivalent per metric ton. As well, our water intensity also decreased to 0.9 cubic meter per ton of nickel. Part of the program diversity and inclusions, the company also managed to increase the percentage of the female employees to 10.79, and we are heading to achieve 11.5% by the end of this year. Below chart is the SSG rating, risk rating has decreased to 30.5. And we have also maintained our inclusion in ESG rating, ESG Kehati, rated by IDX index. On the right side, you can see the reclamation progress. Our reclamation conducted 68.14 hectares, conducted from 265 hectares this year. This is in our concession area, and we continue to do reclamation outside of our concession area. You can see the number 3,329 hectares from 6,540 hectares this year, yesterday. In terms of dust rehabilitation outside of our concession area, we have made significant strides in our reclamation effort, reclaiming about 86.14 hectares from 265 hectares for our mine out area in the second quarter. Yeah. So we are in process to update our reclamation plan based on the current mining plan because of the progress we have made in the first semester to be able to ensure our progress in the second semester. So part of the rehabilitation outside our concession area, we have planted over 10 million trees in 5 provinces. 3 provinces in Sulawesi, including Central, South, and Southeast Sulawesi, but we do have also another 2 provinces, West Java and in Bali. This is the aiming to restore and also to enhance the watershed carbon sequestration function. Okay, the next slide, Lydia. Okay, this is the production. This is our production progress update. So over the past 5 years, our productions demonstrated strength and stability. We reached a peak 72.7 kiloton in 2020 and rebounded to 70.7 kiloton in 2023, and we projected to achieve 70.8 kiloton this year. Following our maintenance strategy in the first half, the production in the second quarter is lower compared to the same quarter last year. However, the overall production for the first half this year is higher, about 1,000 tons compared to the same period last year, and representing about 3% increase, mainly due to improvement in furnace productivity and also shorter maintenance duration in the first half. So to achieve our production target, we are focusing in increasing productivity, especially in mining operation. So you can see here the charts. Our performance critical equipment digger improving from the first quarter to the second quarter, and also to continue following the last 2 quarters. And you can see also our wash inventory here improving to 3.5 weeks. So with all the strategy here means that lowering the nickel grade for the first half to be able to increase the wash inventory. Now we have enough inventory from mining to be able to feed the processing plant. Means we have enough retention time and we have enough inventory. With good retention time, we'll have less moisture, reduce the moisture, and as well will reduce the energy consumption in our dryer operation. So all those improvements we have made, including the performance of our equipment here, and also our wash inventory, the grade also showing good indication starting in June. So we are confident to achieve our production target this year, 70.8 kiloton. So I think the next slide will be presented by Pak Ricky. So I will hand over to Pak Ricky.
Thank you, Pak Abu, and hope everyone is in good condition. Allow me to continue with a brief overview on the financials part. Even though the shipment volume, the second quarter 2004 was slightly lower compared to the previous quarter, the company managed to achieve a revenue of USD 248.8 million in the second quarter of 2004, which represents an 8% increase from the previous quarter, thanks to higher average realized nickel price. And the average realized price of the nickel is surged by around 12% to around USD 14,200 per ton in the second quarter, from roughly around 12,651 per ton in the first quarter of 2024. And again, it is important to highlight that production, when you look on a first half basis, as mentioned by Pak Abu before, the second half is actually higher than production. The first half in 2024 is higher than production in the first half of the previous year. This growth can be attributed to its planned maintenance strategy, and also, as mentioned before, higher calcine output in 2024. Despite facing industry challenges, the company successfully generated a positive EBITDA of 72.4 million, which is relatively a 38% increase compared to previous quarter. Furthermore, we managed to record a profit in the second quarter, which is around 31.1 million, considerable increase from the previous quarter. It is important to highlight that we still recorded an unrealized loss for this quarter, which is around 6.12 million, coming from the recognition of fair value of derivative asset. Again, this loss was a result from the additional participation variance resulting from the fluctuation in the valuation of the derivative asset must be recorded as a gain or loss in our book to comply with the accounting standard. However, it is important to highlight these are unrealized gains or losses, and in nature, it's non-operating as well. As just as a highlight, after excluding the derivative impact, operationally, we actually record roughly 18 million of profit in the first quarter, and then 38 million of profit in the second quarter of 2024, which means on a normalized level, we booked normalized profit of roughly around 56 million for the first half of 2024. And as for the capex disbursement, in the second quarter of 2024, the company strategically disbursed around 61 million in capex, a slight increase around 6% from the previous quarter, which demonstrate our commitment to growth and future expansions. Next slide. This chart provides a a quarter-to-quarter comparison of two crucial metrics, which are the ASP, the average realized nickel price, and also the unit cash cost of revenue. And in the second quarter, the average nickel price showed a promising upward trend, which yields a positive result for a company. As previously mentioned, the average realized price, the ASP of nickel, increased by roughly around 12%, rising to the level of 14,000 in the second quarter, coming from the previous base in the first quarter around 12,600. And to give context, the fluctuation in the nickel price has a significant impact on our revenue and net earnings. Assuming all other factors remain constant, a decrease of 1,000 ton USD per ton of nickel in our budget assumption would have an impact of roughly around 55 million. And acknowledging this nature of the industry, we continuously review our cost base and potential uplift to the business going forward. For the second half of 2024, I think this was specifically mentioned by Pak Abu before, that on top of our optimistic plan to achieve the 70.8 kiloton of annual target production, we are also planning to have a potential uplift, hopefully from selling additional ore from our greenfield area. Currently, we are in the process of revising our RKB to include such plan, and hopefully that this will have an impact to our performance. And furthermore, on the cost side of things, we are proactively implementing several cost initiatives to ensure and manage our unit cash cost of revenue will be able to continue to generate healthy margin. Our target, again, we try to maintain our unit cash cost to be the level below 10,000 USD per ton of nickel made, and we are roughly still within healthy margin compared to that target as of now. And this year we will revisit our business processes as well. With the recent change in the shareholding composition, for instance, on the procurement side, we will revisit our commodity contracts and plan to collaborate with MineID to be part of their umbrella contract, so that we can actually secure better prices on commodities as well. And hopefully that this will be something that we can act as a quick win within 2024 as well. And by maintaining our productivity and cost efficiency, I think we have successfully sustained a positive margin so far. And again, we operate not only to produce nickel, but to create a sustainable value. Next. This table shows the energy consumption rate and average price of energy in the second quarter of 2024. In line with the lower production, I guess, the total consumption of fuels and coal in the second quarter of 2024 was lower compared to the previous one. Coal was still used as one of our main energy source in our dryer and kiln. However, the consumption rate of HSFO was only 9% lower compared to the previous quarter, as we still use HSFO to increase the heat, as previously mentioned by Pak Abu, in the dryers due to high oil moisture in the second quarter. And in terms of price, the average price of HSFO in the second quarter of 2024 was slightly higher, 2% higher compared to the previous quarter. However, this was offset by the lower average price of diesel and coal, which were 2%, 1%, and 1% lower respectively. And again, just as a highlight, approaching the second half of the year, considering that these cost buckets are considered as our main cost drivers, we will revisit the existing contracts and arrangements within this area for further efficiencies. Again, with the recent change, I think we see ample of room to capitalize on strategic initiatives that could bring positive synergies to the company. Again, such as integration of procurement efforts within the group for better commodity input prices. We are optimists that we could have some quick wins within this area. Next slide. On this slide, it shows that the company's cash and cash equivalents or cash balance as of June 30, 2024 was reaching 832 million outside of the restricted one, and an increase of 40%, 14%, and 16% compared to 731 million as of March and 719 as of June last year, respectively. As for the second half 2024, in terms of cash holdings, we are estimating an increase in spending of cash, specifically to support and fund our growth projects, mainly for the Morowali and Pomala mine development, which I think later on will be further explained by Pastor. And just a bit of a highlight, post carve-out, as we are becoming more independent in terms of cash management, we also repatriate the offshore cash to Indonesia. So having more independent way of doing and managing our cash balance, PTBI is looking to optimize the yield of our cash as well, while at the same time managing the cash expenditure while supporting the growth. Last but not least, Pasril will deliver the updates on our growth projects. Please, Pasril.
Thank you, Pariski. Now let me update you our development project in 3 areas in Bahodopi, Morowali, Pomala, and also Sorowako. In Q2 2024, we made progress in a growth project in 3 areas. In Morowali project, we continue with the construction of essential infrastructure component in mining, include the port. As you can see in the pictures, we are developing the mining as well as we are building the ports for us to be able to send out the ore to our partner out to the market. We have reached about 44% progress in mining until June 30th, 2024, and we aim to achieve 70% of the progress by the end of this year. We employ over 1,700 of workers in mining construction as of today, with the aim to be able to deliver the first ore to the market by Q4 2025, which is next year. In addition to that, also, with regard to our plans, we are now re-evaluating the downstreaming alternative to find a better strategy in terms of the project economics in Morowali. If we move to Pomala project, we are also reaching a good progress in mine development. We are finalizing a few and some of the contracts, major contracts to develop the mining. We are awarding the earth moving and civil work contractors mobilizing to site today, as well as the PCM contractor that gonna be manage the contractor on site. Shortly, we're gonna award and appoint the EPC contract for the parties to build the infrastructure for mining development. In addition to that, our HPAL construction also progressing well. The partners now is focusing to construct the FPP, feed preparation plant, in our mining sites, and also building the access roads to the HPAL plant. The total workforce for both areas as of today is reaching about 1,600 workforce in Pomala today. If you move to the Sorowako project, which is Sorowako Limonite project, for us to be able to mine our limonite, we are also progressing well. The FAD being approved back in May 2024. The construction started with some preliminary construction activities. We are hiring the contractor to build the stockpile for us to stockpiling the ore for us to prepare the ore to be delivered to the HPAL plant down in Malidi, to Timur. Our partner also is preparing the construction of HPAL plant along with the FPP, and the pipeline is about 60 kilometers away from the mining down to the port in Malidi. So for Sorowako Limonite, we are aiming also to be able to finish off mining at least by Q2 or Q3 2026. By having at the same time also our HPAL plant also is going to be ready by that time, which is, as I said, our partners is now working on it to prepare everything for them to be able to start the work construction in FPP, pipeline, as well as in the HPAL plant down in Malidi. Those are the progress that I can update it for all of our growth projects in Morowali, Pomala, and Sorowako. I return back to the moderator for the Q&A session. Thank you. Back to you, Glory.
Thank you, Ibu Febri, Pak Abu, Pak Rizky, and Pak Asril for the presentation. Now let's start the Q&A session. As I mentioned earlier, you may raise your hand or you can put your question in the chat box. We will call your name for those who raise your hand. Okay, is there any question from the floor to our directors? Okay, this is from Benny Kurniawan. Please, Benny.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Ibu Glory, and thank you so much for the presentation, Bu Febri, Pak Rizky, Pak Abu, and Pak Asril. My question is on, the potential ore sales for next year. Do you have a roadmap, let's say for 2025, 2026, and 2027 on the quantity of the ore sales? And can you share on, let's say, the progress of the mining site for both Bahodopi and Pomala, and what's the capacity in terms of ore sales, or production? Thank you.
May I answer?
Sure, Pak
if you-
Asril.
Okay, I'm gonna answer first in the second question. Thank you so much, Pak Beni, for your question. In regard to the schedule of the construction of mining in Bahodopi, as I mentioned earlier, we are planning to deliver the first ore by Q4 2025, which is next year. The capacity, the original capacity, based on the FID being approved last year or last 2 years ago, is to be able to deliver 3.7 million ton of saprolite ore per year. But recently, we are evaluating to upsize the Bahodopi plant to be able to deliver up to 7 million ton ore of saprolite plus 11 million ton of limonite. This is, as I mentioned, is under evaluations to be able to see the potential of upsizing our mining in Bahodopi to generate more revenue from that side, aligned with the evaluating of the plan, which is to ensure that we are the building the plans which is more economic from the financial side. In Pomala, as a construction also in progressing, we aim also to have the first delivery ore by Q1 2026. Q1 2026, the capacity mining in Pomala is about 7 million saprolite ore plus 21 million limonite ore. The 21 million limonite in Pomala is going to be offtake by our partners, which is going to build in the HPAL, while 6 to 7 million ore in Pomala is going to be sold to the market, which is currently is under progressing to discuss for that. Okay, so just to summarizing, the capacity in mining or in Bahodopi today we are having 3.7 with upsizing to 7 million saprolite plus 11 million limonite. In Pomala, 7 million of saprolite plus 21 million of limonite. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Asril. And now we have the second participant who raised his hand. This is Ryan Winipta. Please, Ryan.
Yeah, thank you, Bu Glory, for the opportunity, and congratulations on this strong second quarter result. Maybe just one question from my side. Looking at the progress of the mining development and etc., has there been any changes in terms of the timeline for Bahodopi, Pomala, and Sorowako? So when should we expect the smelter or the refining plant to operate? Thank you.
I may answer from the mine side, Glory, and probably I'm gonna hand it over to Fini for the plant side. For the mining side, we still be at the plan. So as I mentioned earlier again, for mining in Bahodopi, we're gonna start delivering the ore by next year, Pomala in the next 2 years, 2026. And as well, the same with the ore limonite, limonite in Sorapa limonite variant. Fini probably can.
And complementing Azil, yeah, so the joint ventures for Pomala and Sorowako will be very much aligned with what Azil mentioned. Yeah? So the construction will be finishing probably very on time, very close to what, as you mentioned, to be delivering the ore from the mine.
I may try to add some flavor there. I think for Pomala, you know, it's not the first time for them to build HPAL in the size of 120,000 ton. And if you follow the story in the industry, you know their track records. So now basically we're waiting for AMDAL for Pomala HPAL. I think we're progressing well on the forestry permit, which the partners has obtained a couple of months ago, and now progressing with AMDAL. Assuming they get the AMDAL by August, the track records, and assuming the track record they have proven so far in other projects, they can complete within 18 months when they get all the necessary permits. This project, because of the Ford joining the projects, this project becomes very important and gets all the attention. And we're very grateful to get the support from governments in ensuring that we can speed up all the necessary permit for the partners as well. So if you do the math, right, if supposedly we get the partners get the AMDAL, which in August or September, you just add simply another 18 months, which correlate well with the timeline that Astral mentions for Pomala. On the Bahodopi side, Astral is on track and on schedule, and also we think we could deliver less than what was required in terms of constructions of the mine. Good news. Next year, as mentioned by Astral, Q4, we can start it to generated income, hopefully from Bahodopi mine. On the smelter side, with today economic, the MPI, the price we are evaluating. Rest assured that the commitment on the investment is still there. We're working on the solution to optimize the project itself. Nevertheless, whatever options we were working on, the ore will produce coming out of mine is certainly can be sold to third party. So that's in nutshell where we are. We're hoping by end of this year we could provide you with a better pictures of our optimizing plan for the smelter side of Bahodopi.
Got it. Thanks for the color and insights, Bu Febri, Vini, and also Pak Asril. All the best for Indonesia.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we have also a question from Ibu Sarah in the chat box here. Hello, may I check on your upcoming CapEx plan for the coming years and how it will be funded? Additionally, is there a planned dividend amount that will be paid to Mine ID annually? So I think for this one, Pak Rizky can help to answer.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I think this is an interesting question, right? Firstly, I think in terms of the CapEx plan, so this is going to be quite significant going forward, right? I think Astral already mentioned some of the growth projects that we're having, and I think sometime around next week, it's going to be quite massive in terms of the development of the areas within Morowali, Mala, and the Sorowako limonite as well. We're looking at we're reaching $1 billion of estimated capex potentially, and again, this is going to be subject to further development within the mine areas within this year as well, within the second half. But in terms of funding, definitely when we look at that number, right, $1 billion, it definitely must be sourced not only internally, but there's a potential that we might need to go to market to fund. And I think from a timing perspective of things, looking at the trend, I guess you guys know better as well. Next year is going to be quite a good time to enter the market as well. We're looking at a potentially better pricing as well in terms of market funding, which is quite aligned with the requirement from ourselves in terms of external funding. We're paying a close attention to the movement and the need. We will pick the best timing in terms of market entrance as well, and also the structure to actually, reduce the potential pressure on our balance sheet with the growth development having in place. So the right timing will be crucial from the pricing perspective, but also in terms of matching the requirement from the capex side of things, so that it does not impose additional burden to our balance sheet. And for the dividend part, maybe Bu Febri later on can add a bit. But yeah, definitely. I mean, with the new composition, right? Naturally, dividend would be something that will be in future discussion. But again, just to note, right, the transaction has just been done within this year, so there must be a review period on that. as you know, as investor in general, when we put money, we sometimes have a review period of investment. So, and then later on, we can revisit what we had in mind in terms of the development, also the expectation of the company. But Bu Febri, maybe you can add a bit on this one.
Yeah, thank you, Kiki. Good questions. I mean, naturally, you would expect, right, as a new shareholders, and mentioned by Kiki, my ID do expect if there is any potential dividend. We are discussing it. All depends on, I mean, how things fall out, I think, unfold next year. So if you look at the timing, right, so Bahodopi mine will hopefully complete really on time next year, Q4, start generating income that will help. And the capex for the Bahodopi mine today is using our own cash. We can fund it, and you can see our cash balance is very, very strong now. With Q4 coming, if we can sell the ore, then there will be quite a decent size of cash coming in. Pomala, the capex itself for the mine, the size is roughly in the order of 1 billion. As we need to look at, right, the ability to sell ore, and also staging of some of the spending. If there is room for dividend, then we will consider, I think, to propose a dividend. All depends on how things will unfold next year. Will also depends on how much the nickel price going to be, right? I think you all know, I'm familiar with that. So if there are rooms for that, we will definitely discuss with the shareholder side. Yeah.
Thank you, Pak Rizky and Ibu Febri. We have several questions here from Pak Benjamin Mikhail. First of all, thank you for the presentation. The question is, how much is the indicative or cash cost for Pomala and Bahodopi ore? Probably Pak Asril can help to answer for this question.
The question is regarding the capex, Glory, or
this is the
OPEX.
The OPEX, the cash cost for the ore mining from Pomala and
yes,
Bahodopi ore.
the estimate for both Bahodopi with the upside case of Bahodopi, we are in the range of $9 to $10 per ton ore delivery to the ports. While in Pomala, the estimate is about $7 to $8 per ton ore delivered to the port. The difference because of the total material movement and total ore being delivered in Pomala is higher than what going to be delivered in Bahodopi. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Pak Asril. The next question is from Pak Edward. The first question, could you please provide guidance on the first about the production, and then the average selling price, and then the margin for the rest of the year and the next coming years? Thank you. Probably related to the production target, Pak Abu can help to answer, and then related to the selling price and then margin, Pak Kiki.
Yeah, thank you, Glory. So the first semester is the to improve our wash inventory, actually, and also the strategy to the maintenance. So we have two major shutdowns happen in the second quarter. So that is why our part is lower if we could compare with the same period last year. But overall production for the first semester, the first half is higher 1,000 tons compared to the previous year. With all those shutdown strategy we have prepared, the wash inventory increase, the nickel grade also showing good in June and also continue in July this month, showing good indication, retention time for our wash, the equipment, also the critical equipment digger improving from first quarter to the second quarter and continue for the third quarter because we have new equipment coming in for the mining operation. So we are confident to achieve our production target this year, 70.8 kilotons, with all those the preparation we have done for the first half. And I think to Glory, ya, Pak Ricky, ya.
For the next coming years, I think this is going to be too early right now. Maybe we can have the session sometime at the end of the year. Maybe it would be a better timing, to discuss on the next coming years. But for this year specifically, I think ASP it's going to be relatively quite the same with the first half. It's not going to be far. We're seeing that it's still within the market condition that we will be facing. So hence, I guess we emphasize a lot, in terms of having those initiatives in place, because we are seeing a continuance on the trend as well. So that will be the main focus. And for margins, again, as mentioned earlier in the previous slide, reflecting from the cash cost point of things, right? We try to maintain within the sustainable level. So as a trickle down effect as well, with a sustained level of pricing, I think we're looking at relatively the same level of margins, hopefully by the end of the year.
Thank you, Pak Abu and Pak Rizky. We have a question from Pak Arianto Kurniawan. Okay. Yeah, probably. Okay. Before that, Rian in here already raised his hand. Please, Rian.
Yeah, thanks, Bu Glory. Just one follow-up question. I think in regards to the mining capacity for Sorowako. I think Bu Febri has mentioned about the one in Baudopi in Pomala. But just wanted to know what's the capacity for Sorowako and what's the timeline for Sorowako as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Rian. So actually, the mine in Sorowako is to support the new project, in Sorowako is to support roughly 60,000 ton each power plant. Therefore, and this is limonite. As you know, we have mined the saprolite, so the limonite is a byproduct. So for us, it's pretty easy to scale up because this is not really a greenfield per se, right? Because we're already mining it. This is about, traffic management, stockpile management to ensure that we preserve our limonite in a better way, because today we're actually not consuming the limonite. So if you look at the capacity of the HPAL, it's roughly half of Pomala. So you can do the math. So that's basically what we'll be producing from Sorowako HPAL. Sorowako limonite that we will be producing. Actually, this is one of the biggest waste to value project, right? Because today we are not utilizing the limonite, and now the limonite can be monetized into a quite decent products for our project. Timeline-wise, the team, we signed our definitive agreement about, I think, late last year. And since then, our partners, YU, has been working on securing land access, and also acquiring land as well as the permit for the industrial park. There will be industrial park, by the way, in Malili. So in overall, I think we're now, they're progressing quite well with the land acquisition. Now they're finalizing the feasibility study and also for AMDAL application. We're hoping that not too long from now, they can submit the application, and hence, if there is no major change in the government approach in approving AMDAL, then we should be expecting to get the AMDAL within, I think, Q1, Q2 next year. With that in mind, you can work out the track records that you have so far, right? So about 1.5 years from the date all the permits are secure, they typically can complete the construction. So that's roughly the timeline for the Sorowako HPAL. So a bit different now, the mine is in the Sorowako, which is 60 kilometers from the coast. Our port now is in the Malili area, which is the capital of Luwu Timur, our agency. So the HPAL, the autoclave itself will be in Malili. And then the mine itself, of course, continue to be in Sorowako, and there will be fit preparation plan built in Sorowako. And then they will utilize existing pipeline route that we have for our HSFO, and then build a new pipeline for the slurry. So I think from a mining point of view, no issue in scaling up because it's already an existing mine. So now it depends on the ability to secure the permits like AMDAL on time. I believe this project is also categorized as PSN, right? Quite happy to say that all of our major projects are all categorized as PSN, hence getting the special attention and support from government.
Well noted, Bu Febri. So we can assume that the capex for Sorowako should be very minimum on the mining side, I would say.
Yeah. I think we're talking about in the order of a couple of hundreds
Two-
millions, right? That's the
Yes.
ballpark. Okay,
So
200 to
200
300
million.
million max. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
I think in due course, maybe this is a good feedback. I think next quarter we can be more specific and outline more information about our group project. Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Bu Febri. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we come back to Pak Ari's question. The question from Pak Ari is about, actually, this is not directly related to the operation, but Pak Ari would like to know our view on what happened with Dilong in China and the potential impact to the nickel business, given that they are a big nickel player in the sector in Indonesia. So is it Ibu Febri? Okay, Ibu Febri, please. Thank
I
you.
think thank you. Thanks for the questions, Varianto. My answer is as good as your answer. I think you guys, the analysts, know better than us. Anyhow, yeah, it's we all know how big Telong is. Definitely a major player in the industry. What happened to them in China definitely will bring impact, right? But how much the impact is, the recovery of that impact, I mean, it's something that is very difficult to say, right? Having said that, though, I mean, with today nickel price, you also hear news right around the globe that some of the non-competitive nickel producers are also shutting down. We are hoping that all of this will correct a little bit the oversupply situation we're facing today. And let's hope that the price can recover a bit better, because I think the situation today in what happened in Indonesia and globally is also not a sustainable situation. So let's see. Nevertheless, right, Varianto, you know us very well. We never count our fate on the future nickel price. For us, it's very important to remain competitive, no matter what nickel price situation we're facing in today. And today, despite the high fuel and coal price we are facing, PTVI is able to maintain our cost structure to be in the early second quartile or in the last first quartile, depending on the swing between HSFO and coal price. So I think the focus of management remain as competitiveness of PTVI rather than really, hoping for the price recovery.
Okay, thank you, Febri. We have two questions from Young. Actually, for the first question, this is already, I think, already answered by Pak Kiki as well, related to the earnings for the rest of the year, and also about the production volume. Pak Abu already answered that. Probably, Ibu Febri, you can help with the second question related to the Bahodopi project that currently the company is evaluating downstreaming alternative to find a better strategy in terms of economics. Thank you, Bu Febri.
Thank you. I have to thank Gloria. You give me all the hard questions. Before I really touch on the second questions, I like to highlight for the second half of the year, so the volume, the price discussions, the cost discussion has been touched on by Abu and Kiki. But I like to highlight that we're better prepared, I think, compared to first half of the year. Now, as mentioned by Pak Abu, right, the WAS level has increased to a healthy level. That means we will have a decent retention time, reducing moisture in the ore to be processed in our processing plant. Therefore, relative to first quarter, we're expecting higher efficiency in the usage of energy. And second, also, I think let's not underestimate the powers of having WAS. The level of WAS today give us ability to also do some blending and flexibility in terms of nickel grade and chemistry. I think that's the reason why the first half of the year we're focusing on beefing up our WAS stockpile rather than grade, because we felt like this is a lot of potential upside on the WAS level. So hopefully we see, I think the team, we're fully aware about the nickel price situation today. In addition to that, right, it's extremely important for us to review and making sure that the money we spend is really truly with a high discipline in mind. Second question, though, I think this is also from a casual chat with some of you outside the typical earnings call, right? Everyone is asking about what happened with the smelter side of Bahodopi. I would say this is one of good example of showing, we turn challenges into opportunity. It was initially a challenge, but now we see a lot more opportunity. So with the ability, with the pushback and with the request to review again, given the situation where we are in, I mean, nickel commodity base metal is always highly volatile. So we're used to this. I think resilience to adapt to the changes is the key word. So we take this challenge and start seeing a lot of opportunity. So if you recall, right, perhaps in the past we have said that for Bahodopi, the only options for us to go on the smelter route is RKF because Bahodopi predominantly saprolite. But today with more drilling and also with the development of HPAL technology in Indonesia, we're seeing more flexibility in terms of ore specification that can fit into HPAL. So now we're seeing a decent amount of limonite, something that we did not recognize before, but now it becomes a tremendous opportunity. So Bahodopi have both saprolite and also limonite, which is not an option before. Two front, right? More works on the ground in terms of explorations and mining. In addition to that is also the big shift from HPAL technology in Indonesia. Ability to take up more flexible ore specification allow us to now start seeing a lot of value in our mine. Hence, we focus a lot on how do we gear up our mine quickly. I also want to highlight a little bit here. If you see the way things work in the past, many, many years ago, right? We would typically build the project first, the smelter site first before we built the mine. But today I would say that, as long as we can deliver the commitment that we had to our partners, the rest is really upside for us. So we're starting to see this as a true value of PTV, one of the very good pillars for PTVR going forward. With the IUPK, we were entrusted, with 118,000 hectares. So the next step is, in addition to all of these major projects, we're also gearing up, upscaling our ability to do more exploration. We need to know what we have on the ground, and then we can develop our plan appropriately. Going forward, we see much more opportunity on the revenue coming from ore sales. Again, right, all of these need to be further studied. We're dealing with Mother Nature, so we have to do a proper study and evaluations, and in due course, we will share with you. But I like to highlight that this is one of the potential big upside that we haven't talked about in the past. I think on the ability to scale up on the ore sales beyond what we have been talking about today. But this is more longer terms. It had to depends on the explorations and all the programs that we have on place. Now, so on the Bahodopi part, we continue to optimize, working on optimizing the Bahodopi RKF. At the same time, we are also looking at HPAL. And we now have flexibility. We have options to look at where we want to emphasize in generating value. And then I think I also want to highlight, I think big value is coming on the ore body as well, because now we can utilize both saprolite and the limonite. And on the RKF and HPAL side, we have options now, not just one option. So obviously, we will be evaluating all of this. We're also talking to different partners now to try to understand what further downstream options we may have. So all of these are being studied. So I don't think it's wise to give you a lot more information today when we know more are coming. So be patient. I think around Q4 this year, hopefully, finger crossed, everything's settled. We can get proper approval on this new path forward, and then we can appropriately share with all of you. And we remain committed to Indonesia.
Okay, thank you, Ibu Febri. Actually, we're already at 4 p.m. now, but we still have Benny. Probably you have a follow-up question, probably one more question, and then the last question is from Marisa. Okay, Benny, please.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Bu Glory. My question would be very simple follow-up to Pak Asril. Pak, you mentioned about the cash cost profile in both Bahodopi as well as Pomala, Pak. But given that you are going to sell both of the ores, is it going to be the cash cost for blended or only one of the other? That's all my question.
That's blended actually, because I'm calculating for the entire ore cost divided by total ore blended for saprolite and limonite.
Okay, got it. So you will recognize both of the ore revenues, and then the cost is as you mentioned earlier. Okay, thank you so much. Very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you, Pak Asril. One last question from Marisa related to the profit sharing. Probably Pak Kiki, you can help answer on this one.
Kikinya, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, you can hear me, right? Actually, since the IUPK one is actually quite relatively new, yeah, this is still being discussed within the auditors. To be honest, we are seeing this as a multiple option as well. But you know, at the end of the day, in terms of nature, right, we're doing it, and naturally it will be calculated on a monthly basis. But in terms of settlement, that's something that we're still trying to look at and getting feedback from the auditor as well on what is actually the common practice for this. But we'll let you know in terms of the treatment and also how the settlement would be.
Yeah, just to add on, right? I mean, we know the rule. We know how much the profit sharing is and how it's calculated. However, there is no implementing regulation yet. So in order to be able to do that, to execute the payment, there's a lot of consultation process that need to happen. So I think by the time, yeah, we have to accrue the balance, right? But the executions of the payment will have to wait for the implementing regulations or further guidance coming from MEMA.
Okay, thank you, Ibu Febri. So that's the last question. So before we close the meeting, Ibu Febri, perhaps you can give a closing remarks.
Yeah, thank you. When we started, there was no questions. I was wondering, are we doing a good job, too much of a good work, and then fall out a lot of questions. But thank you. All the questions make the conversation more fruitful and live. I saw also in the chat room feedback, right? It will be nice to see face to face. So Glory and Kiki, maybe next round we'll do a face to face meeting. I do agree. You know, it's much more. It will be different, right? If we do face to face rather than Zoom, and I'm very happy if I could meet all of you as well. Okay, ladies, gentlemen, thank you for sparing your time joining the call today. I look forward to see you again in the next quarter and hopefully face to face. Have a good day. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ibu Febri. So, ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our today's earnings call. Thank you for your attendance and participation. You may now disconnect. Good afternoon, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.